lay behind you. Good times lie ahead. With company worth keeping, that'll bash a smile on your head. Come on in, the door's open, you'll find just the finest folks here. Pull up a chair, grab a drink, and lend our stories your ear. Cause we're the talk the tavern. Here you're always welcome. The talk the tavern. Promising beer and bedlam. The talk the tavern. Music, medicine, then some. The talk the tavern. The song's over. Here we come.
And welcome to the tavern once again. Glad to have you back. Where you been? I'm Travis, and my vices tonight are bourbon and a pipe. Tin cup rye, actually. Tin cup rye. I like that stuff. What about you, Andrea?
Oh, so just like usual, tea in a fancy wine glass. How about you, Ed?
My vices tonight are chocolate kisses. Couldn't find the vanilla ones. Had to get chocolate ones. And a little bit left of Woodford Reserve, finished in a Sonoma Coast Pinot Noir barrel. It's really yummy.
I don't think I've tried that. By the way, the glass I'm using.
I like that bottle, Andre? You like that bottle too?
Oh yeah, I like yes. I like all the bottles.
The glass I'm using tonight is the Tavern Society logo, which that's what, in the previous episode, I mentioned my Patreon, patreon.com/TravisISivart. And the reason I mentioned it, I was trying to tie it to the Tavern Society, because you know how, like, here in the live audience, we're always like, what do we call them? Tavernites, regulars. I've decided, as all these authors and other shows do, they have a thing for their audience. And I'm thinking, you know what? We'll just make the audience the Tavern Society. They're the ones that come in on a regular basis. So, like on the Discord channel, I've changed it to Tavern Society and put that logo up there. And I'm going to try to work that into the Patreon also, because that really helps build a sense of community. So, anybody have anything happen this week that they want to rant about?
Nope.
No?
It rained.
It rained?
Yeah.
I like it.
Oh.
What?
Not a rant, but it's freaking adorable. So, Travis got me this little bird bath thing for outside, but I don't make it a bird bath. I put peanuts in it for the squirrels. So maybe they'll leave some of the bird food for the birds. Travis had planted some seeds and some planters on the porch. Well, the squirrels decided to bury the peanuts in the planters.
It's true. And
Terrible Novelist just traded with 14 viewers.
Oh.
Yeah, what a surprise. Hello, Terrible Novelist and everybody coming in. We'll probably clip this part out of the show. We are recording the podcast, so it is sub only for chatting, but you're welcome to sit and listen and enjoy the topic, which we're just about to get into. And I'll probably edit this announcement out. Thank you for that, Raid. Here's to your face. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to do an opening toast, too. Oh.
Sure. We'll do that, too.
Yeah. So, opening toast. I don't know. Can we buy one online? Here's being able to buy anything you need at all, ever, online.
Online. Somebody will sell you one.
So, it looks like we've got a very ranty kind of show going on here. We want to talk about consumer culture. Do either of you want to define what consumer culture means before we get into it?
I'll buy that. What's your angle?
I didn't hear that.
He said he'd buy that. What's your angle?
Oh. basically you gotta have it now, gotta have more of it, all of it right now. Buy it.
It has turned need and necessity with a couple few things that make you happy into an addiction. The consumer culture isn't about getting what you need or maybe something that you like. It's about, I gotta catch 'em all. And at one point in time, we used to collect things for the joy of having a collection. And now, if there's any sort of collection connected to something, that industry will drown you in product. You can never get it all. There's always more things to spend money on.
Yeah.
And then, because we'll do that, there's other aftershocks that come along with that. And that's what we're going to get into right now. Now, Andrea, I know you got a list of notes and ideas and thoughts. You want to start?
My.
You want to start with some of yours?
Okay, so basically, here we go. With the way things are now, it's fast fashion, the newest technology, gotta have it all, or you don't count. Gotta spend all this money for status and all these things. It can be overwhelming. The companies support it. It's how they get their money. So they'll do upgrade. The thing that bothers me the most, cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
I'll keep a cell phone forever, but they'll do so many updates and things to where it doesn't work anymore, and you have to buy a newer one.
Yeah.
Planned
get the message saying,
obsolescence.
We no longer support this item. You need to buy a new one.
Right. I tell you what, I would have stuck with Microsoft Word like 4 versions ago and never changed it if I could have.
Never changed it.
'Cause
I hate 365.
Well, I paid one price for it. I owned it. It did what I needed. I didn't need all this other stuff. But I got a new computer. I can't even upload it. I mean, I guess you can with illegal software. You can go get her. And now, that little program, you have to pay per year. And sure, they offer a family discount. Well, no, actually, they raise the price. They just allow you to have it on more computers.
Great.
Or you can have a student discount. And then they give you like Hulu or something with it too. And you're like, wait, what? Maybe that's Spotify that did that. But yeah, cell phones is planned obsolescence with cell phones. Because originally, you got a phone and you kept it as long as you could. The only reason you got a new phone is because they came out with a cooler, sleeker model. Not because yours didn't work anymore. They just now had something with features that yours doesn't have. And you're like, okay, that's worth getting a new one for.
But was it really?
Well, at the time. I remember the old flip phones before it had internet, before you could text and you could call. It didn't even have a camera.
That texting was a little challenging.
I swear that texting was easier sometimes than the modern smartphones.
It's just, I can't even, there's so much, just like with the TVs. So it's like, okay, newer model and newer this. We're not doing VHS anymore. We're not doing any of that. We're not doing DVDs. So you get rid of all the stuff that does it, and now they're bringing it back. And they're charging you more.
Okay.
And they're not as good.
I'm going to get in on this. Because you had VHS, sure. CD, DVD, Blu-ray, superior. Okay, got it. But then they put it all to streaming. And they started taking away the physical object. So you don't actually own anything.
You don't own shit.
We can tie it into video games. If somebody went, oh, you play that video game? Why don't you bring it over and play it at my house with me? I can't. I can't even bring a disc over, whether it's on the computer or a console system. And in the previous, last week's episode, we even mentioned that they can lock your console. So you can't play it at all if they catch you doing something, because you don't actually own it anymore.
Mhm.
And now they're bringing back, well, LPs, and I don't think they're going to bring back cassettes, but CDs and all these other things. And I think in the beginning it was because people realized, oh shit, I don't own anything. I just pay a subscription. But once they realized, well, people are going to buy these anyway, now we could double the price.
Well, it's like, so before you would have the physical VHS tape. I still have one, a few, or Blu-rays or DVDs, and then it went to streaming. And once you don't pay the monthly fee, you don't have access to it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just technology stuff; it's clothing. Me and some friends, we were discussing this the other day. T-shirts are way thinner than they used to be.
Yep.
Thinner and thinner every year. It's just like, so they don't last.
Right.
We were talking about
So,
this today, and we mentioned in the 80s when we were coming up, people talked about clothing in the 50s lasted longer than they do in the 80s. And they were right. And most things I go, it's been around since the beginning of time. Every generation complains about it. Now, I am on board with this one with clothing. They are not in our heads. The shirts are cheaper. Here's a great example. I bought a name brand of socks for the Loomer Hanes. Within 3 to 4 washings, my heel was coming out of it. Not just in one sock, in multiple socks. And I bought new underwear just 2 months ago. They are getting holes in them. Not in the back where you'd normally get holes after owning them for 12 years. But in the seam lines up front because the material is so thin.
Ed doesn't know anything about this.
No.
Let's go commando.
I do with socks and because I buy wool socks because hiking, outdoor activity, wearing boots to work, blah 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 blah. And not only do they not last like they used to, if you find a pair that is made like you really like with good cushion and so forth and so on, a year from now you can't find them no more.
Yes.
It's gone.
That's so true. And also with socks in particular, they're not as tall as they used to be.
Right.
They're just a couple inches above the ankles. They're not even calf socks. And I like socks that go above my calf. Because the ones that go mid-calf, if you've got any kind of shape to your calf, they creep down throughout the day, into your shoe, out the side, off to 7-Eleven. Yeah.
And you're walking funny.
No, I do that normally,
Well,
Ed.
The thing is, okay, you're talking about the 50s, clothes were made better. Yes. And people mended them.
Yes.
Even in the 80s. But now, like, I'm trying to mend some of my clothes, but they're not made well enough to where you can mend them and they hold up.
It won't hold, yeah.
It's because I'm trying to do a more sustainable, less fast fashion and all that. Use what I have, alter it to make it fit or do whatever, because I have my dress thing here. Or even go to the thrift store and alter things to fit.
Right.
But today's fashion makes it way harder to do that.
Right. What about cars? Do they last as long?
Funny you should mention cars because I was just thinking today as I had to be on the road for work today and I looked over at the trip meter on the car and it's 149,000. And I'm thinking, okay, cars are the one thing that they probably have done a little better with. Because back in the day when you started creeping up on 100,000 on a car, forget about it, baby. It was done.
This is where I look at things built in the 70s and before. And they'll still be on the road today. But in the late 70s, early 80s, we went to plastic cars and throwaway parts. And now that we have these electronics and these screens in our vehicles, you're lucky if those screens last 3 to 5 years before they're burning out. And people could be like, well, they're in the sun all day long. Yeah? You think that would have been worked into the design.
It was worked into the design so that it fucks up, so you have to buy a new one.
Yet why wouldn't they design it so it's a tablet, usable as a tablet, that you then plug in and lock it into place?
Because then it's not good on their bottom line.
Do you remember
Not good for the bottom line.
when a few companies out there went, you know what? We're going to make a quality product for, it's going to cost a little more, but it's still a reasonable price. And maybe they don't buy them as often, but they come back for another one when they need it.
And buy more, yeah.
Or they recommend it to somebody else. And it's a slow grow. It's not a fast grow. What, Andrea?
Well, now, okay, yes. And that was a lot of stuff. Like, I remember Sears. You can always go there to get extra parts for whatever you buy from them.
Yeah.
There isn't a Sears anymore.
Nope, gone.
Well, let me
Because
tell
I
you.
used to buy parts for the ovens and I would fix my products.
Mhm.
Can't do it anymore.
Well, something
do
else
it.
about Sears. They had Craftsman. They bought the brand Craftsman. They made it their own. And then when they got into financial trouble, because
They sold it.
Craftsman had a lifetime guarantee. You had a socket, you split that socket, you walked in, went, and they went, here's a brand new one, have a good day. Again, in the late 80s, early 90s, they started making those things crappier to cut their costs because they were getting into financial trouble. And what that did is it made people exchange tools more frequently. So they had to take away that lifetime guarantee. And they gave you a 1 year. And, that was the beginning of their end. And then they bought Kmart. And here we go. We've got neither Sears nor Kmart anymore.
No, there's one Kmart.
Is there?
Yep.
Yeah. We drive past it sometimes.
You
But
point at it. Because I thought the last one closed. But I could be wrong.
maybe it did. I don't know. We haven't been there in a while.
Mhm.
But, so they make things, that's one thing. They make it so that they're breakable, disposable. People, a lot of disposable things, but also social media now is like, look at this.
Yeah.
This will make you popular. You need this and have this and this. And you get it. And then they're like, oh, well, that's last week. Now you need this.
Yep. And it's throwaway
And then the
items that you're
landfill.
buying.
Hmm.
But they're not, and they're not supposed to be thrown away. They're supposed to last longer. But because people are influenced by influencers and they need to feel worthy, they get more and more and more. Now, I can't say I'm not guilty of this. I try not to be anymore.
Right.
Quit social media. But it's not good.
Something
Or the
influenced.
celebrity endorsement.
Right. But who's the
Everybody
celebrity?
wants to be like Mike.
But the celebrity endorsements are old celebrities from the 90s now. Because they were a throwaway commodity too. Entertainers have always been a throwaway commodity. If you didn't do something lately, you're out. And that's something these young influencers who are so pretty on their little videos with their filters have to realize. Once they get burned out and they drop off for 6 months for mental health and physical health reasons, because they're so broken after doing all this for so long, when they come back, they do not get back to where they were. Especially when most of their content was a fucking commercial trying to sell me some shit.
So, I don't know if anybody's ever seen Black Mirror. Wonderful show. I think it's on Netflix. Don't have Netflix anymore because it costs too much. But if you do, Black Mirror, season 1, episode 2, even though it was the first episode that was ever written, it's called 15 Million Merits. Came out in December 2011. It reminds me of now.
Why?
It's like
Why?
get into that. So basically, it's the main character's there and he wakes up in his room and there's screens all around him. And it comes up and it's like his alarm and he does a thing and it goes off. Basically, the whole episode is everything is screen time. Everything is screens. Everything is virtual and influencing. And I don't want to give too much away, plus I don't remember a lot of it. I know that episode is stuck with me. It shows people working to get these merits to get food or to get virtual games and a lot of things. None of it is anything that they keep. It's all like disposable, like, or things you don't have, like a virtual game or filter or things like that. And I see that a lot now.
I don't know if it relates to this topic, but there was an episode of The Orville, which I really enjoyed most of that show. And there was an episode they went to an alien planet and the whole legal system was based on social media. And you had a ranking of likes and dislikes. And if you dropped below a certain point, you went to court. And if somebody reported you doing something, for example, they caught somebody peeing on the statue of somebody who was really popular, and they were arrested because they got so many thumbs down. And then they had, through the court trial, had to earn those back or be put to death. And it was mob mentality through social media. So it's tying the consumer culture to cancel culture as a legal system. And, yeah, I've seen that in play here. I don't know these folks. I don't think they were predicting the way things would go. I think they saw something that was already happening in the early stages and called it out.
I think so. Well, like, I'm not on social media anymore, but I remember this one video and it really made a lot of sense. It was kind of shitty how it was done. Like, the father's like, took the two kids to Target, says, okay, get whatever you want. And say, this, like, yeah, get it for your brother too. And they filled up carts with $200 worth of stuff. He's like, yeah, that's how much you spent on virtual things on Minecraft. You could have had all of this for the same price. And then he walked out the store with them.
Now, what's your next bitch about that?
He didn't put any of that shit back. Yeah, it's going to fuck up the kids mentally with that. And putting it on social media, that should have been done in private. You don't need to show that to the world.
Yeah, I think it's a great lesson, but yeah, I can agree with you with the issues coming up from behind it in the future. But I think it's very important. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and teaching your kids a lesson, don't put more work on those store employees. They're already understaffed. Go ahead.
But why is the store understaffed? Because the rich man has to get richer, not hire enough fucking workers.
It's true. If they can make everybody do the job of two, which we discussed this a few episodes ago, and how millennials and Gen Z and younger generations are coming into the workplace going, okay, I got my job. No, I'm not doing more. What? How dare you?
I could just get them to do the job of one.
In some cases, that's very true. But in others, they're like, no, I'm not taking on extra responsibilities. I see it at my job all the time. You know?
But it's a challenge. It's fun. No, it's not.
And it's not benefiting the person doing the extra work. It's benefiting the person above them.
Yeah.
No extra money, no extra perks. If you call in the next day saying, I feel like crap, I can't come in, you're still getting in trouble, even though you've been doing the job of, probably more so because you've been doing the job of two or more people. Okay, what other consumer stuff do we have? We could talk about. I want to give a great example. I like Funko Pops. You know, the little bobblehead dolls, the little short things, they're adorable. And, you know, I like Star Wars, so I got some Star Wars ones. And I like the superhero movies, so I got some superhero ones because I've been reading comics since the 70s. And then I got, you know, Mayor McCheese from McDonald's. And there was always another one to buy. There was more than I'd ever want. But out of the ones I wanted, there was more than I could ever get. Because A, I only have so much room. B, I only have so much money. C, I only have so much give a damn before I go, what the fuck am I doing? Now I think about these. What am I going to do with them? Now I've got them displayed and I enjoy the display. But what happens when I get older? You know what? Somebody's going to sell them on eBay? Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Beanie Babies.
But
Yeah.
I lived in this room and I smoke pipes and cigars. And they're in cardboard that sucks in odors and holds them. And even if they just throw them away, that's a lot of crap. You need me to stop, Andrea?
Yeah, they're not going to throw them away. What's going to happen? Because you're going to make all this money and your books are going to be turned into movies and shows, and people are going to want that, and they're going to want it to smell like your cigars and your pipes and your room, and they'll pay the money, and that's going to pay for our retirement.
It'll be like giving Stephen King's old sock.
Yeah. Oh, it's crusty.
Still smells like bourbon and cocaine.
I'm with you on this one because you said something at the beginning of the show that really fits here, because you can't just get the one thing, because now there's the addition to the one thing. I used to like to build military models, and back in the day when I first started building them, way back in the 1900s, you had a model kit and you had basically 10 paints to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
Now there are hundreds of paints to choose from because it's got to be accurate. And you buy the kit, and now there's the add-on stickers and the add-on this and the add-on that. So it really, really looks super, super accurate. And for a while there, I went down that rabbit hole, and I'd buy my $30 kit, and the next thing I know, with all the added parts on it, I spent $100 on a damn model kit.
Let's talk about brushes.
Oh,
Because you started out with like the 6 crap-ass brushes they give you.
yep.
And sure, you got one that's like 6 hairs for the fine detail, and you're like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I need to replace one brush. And you go buy one brush, and they don't have 6 brushes on the shelf. They have 50 different brushes
50
on the
brushes
shelf.
on the shelf.
And you're like, oh.
And then I gotta have an airbrush.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And you got to have the good stuff to clean it, because you just paid $12 for one paintbrush. So you can't just dip it in mineral spirits like you used to.
No, you gotta have this cleaner here. Yep.
So we got that. And I keep on coming back to what kind of trash it makes in the long run. But what do you got, Andrea? Oh,
Didn't have a lot of money growing up, okay? Didn't have the toys. I do have Barbies, which I take out of the box. I pose them, I play with them, I do.
as an adult,
I have fun.
not as a kid.
And I even have some up here too. But let me talk about mini brands. Oh my God. I love these. I love these. And it's little things, but it does have all this packaging. But I do feel better because there is a doll collector that I follow. I watch her on YouTube. And she finds ways to repurpose the packaging into doll furniture and doll stuff. So that makes me happy. But
Not sponsored by them, but I tell you what, if they showed up on Andrea's doorstep, they could be.
I believe it's My Froggy Stuff. Oh, I love her content.
Yeah, it's a good recommendation. And that's something we need to look at now is what can we get to sate our urges that are long-lasting and repurposed. Now, I'll say right now, physical board games or tabletop role-playing games. You could buy one rule book for Dungeons & Dragons, and it can last you decades. You can buy Scrabble or Settlers of Catan or Ticket to Ride. And they're very popular, and you could play many, many hours, many different ways, and interact and socialize with other people.
A deck of cards.
No. You mean to read my future like tarot cards? That's what you mean?
Sure, you can get those too.
Yeah. Andrea used to do readings with a regular deck of cards.
Yeah.
Still do sometimes.
Yeah.
But also, people celebrate everything because of social media. It's Tuesday, it's the birthday, it's your half birthday, it's whatever day and this day, and people have to decorate for it.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know about nowadays, but back in the day when I was growing up, we would pack the decorations up, put it away for the next year. Now people don't.
All
They
new.
toss them and just buy new every year. What the hell?
Dollar store. Like, that hasn't massively contributed to this era of waste. It's only
Yeah.
$1 or $2. We can afford that next
Mhm.
year. Of course, then you go out and buy 40 items. Now you've spent $100. And
But, you know, the dollar store, that has also gone up because of inflation and things too. But it's still good. I don't know. I know back in the day, a nickel a week for allowance or whatever. Then you could afford something at the Dollar Tree after a couple months, but not anymore.
back when I was getting a nickel for allowance, there was no dollar stores yet.
If you got a nickel for allowance, I never got allowance.
No. You want to hear a fun story about that?
Hmm?
My mother promised me allowance if I did these chores. And we had a chart, and I did these chores. And she later went, can't pay you. Just keep track of it. I'll get it to you. Okay. This went on for years. It came
You have
to the...
enough for retirement?
No. But I hand wrote her a bill for like $1,500 after so many years. She was pissed. I was so confused. I took her at her word. I believed her, and I did the work. This should have been my first lesson in capitalism. Get the money up front. You know, if they
I didn't get an allowance either, but I got lunch money, so I didn't eat lunch and saved my money. So
Yeah. The thing is, if at any point in time, because I was like, follow the rules, kid. At any point in time, she went, I'm not going to pay you. Can't afford to pay you. So just forget about it. I would have been like, oh, okay. Because I didn't lose anything. I didn't have it yet, so I didn't lose anything.
right, you just got lied to.
But I wouldn't even have thought it that way. I would have thought my mother was in trouble and can't do this, and that's okay. But she told me it was coming, so I believed her. I trusted her. It is what it is. So, yeah, my point now is show me the money before I do your work. But also,
I ain't got no money.
here's a few more things about my background, and I'm not looking for sympathy on this. When I was 14, she told me to get out of the house, go get a job, and don't come back in the front door till I have a job. I went out, found a job the same day. It's part of my lesson of there's always work. It's just not what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And when I walked back in the door and said I got a job, she went, great, now you can start paying rent.
Mm-hmm.
At 14. By the time I was 15 and a half, I was buying my own food, my own bathroom necessities like toothpaste, shampoo, toilet paper. And by the time I was 16, I was paying 1/3 of all bills. My brother, the other third, my mother, another third, including rent, electricity. So it's one of those things I learned early to earn your keep. And then also when I was 16, I dropped out of school and went, I pay you this much. I can go rent a room here, have all the freedom I want, and pay less. I'm moving out. So that's one thing. So, but I don't think that relates to consumerism. It just shows there's been hard times all along the way, especially for a single mother raising 2 boys. So, but my brother did get every car when my mother bought a new car. He got the old car. I didn't get my first car till I bought it myself at 20 years old. I bicycled my ass around. Yeah, I was skinny. Then I got a car. Now, look at all this.
Yeah. So, another thing that companies do to support consumer culture especially since COVID and things, people want to do their gardens. They want to do gardens and be more sustainable and grow food and do things. So a lot of the plants, they are made sterile, so you can't use their seeds from year to year. So then, unless you buy the special seeds that haven't been modified, which cost more, sometimes hard to find, so then you have to buy more every
Amazon
year.
has some.
Yeah, Amazon.
Amazon has them.
Yeah.
Which
Heirloom
But, you know,
seeds.
a lot of people don't even know that you can buy a plant, save their seeds, and grow more of it.
Right.
yeah. And then they get to realize how hard it is to grow your own plant, where you have to have them indoor for 2 weeks to 6 weeks, and you have to have them in a covered moisture dome, whatever. And even
Greenhouse.
then, yeah, well, depending on what space you have, yeah. And Ed, I know you do canning, which for anybody who's not in the know, that's actually putting things in jars and sealing the jars airtight in one form or another, so you can keep it for a matter of 6 months to 6 years, depending on the item in the jar. So I want to talk about digital items again. I want to circle back to that. Streaming services are going to kill us. Because there's one thing the human needs, and that's an escape from work. Now, 200-300 years ago, you worked when the sun was up. And then you went home. And if you were a farmer of any sort, you worked 6 to 8 months a year, and you kind of sat on your ass for the rest of the time off. But you did repair fences or roofs or whatever. You had work to do.
Canning came in.
Yeah, it worked, yeah.
Yeah, canning came in. Because the stuff, you grew more than you needed, so it'd last you through the winter. And by the end of winter, you were essentially surviving on meat alone if you could hunt. Again, depending what region of the world you're in. Because Asia, especially China, Japan, a little different from the Western cultures, which may have survived on grains and whatnot. But this digital culture we have, with our games, with our viewing entertainment, our escapism from the day-to-day, because so many of us have jobs that they don't feed your soul at all. They don't make you feel good about yourself. If you're a waiter, you walk out there with food, people are happy, you feel good. You get a couple bucks at the end, you feel good. Even retail, you hand somebody something, they walk away smiling because they got whatever made them feel good, you help somebody. If you look at medical field, other fields, even a ditch digger looks at a piece of land, digs a ditch, puts whatever goes in it, covers the ditch, sees they completed a job and feels good about it. In the modern assembly line, whether it's building a car or whether it's working at a big box store in the boxing and shipping, you never see the end of it. You never see the light at the end of the tunnel. You go into work every day, and it's just a never-ending line of the same thing over and over with no...
There's no opportunity for pride and ownership, and I don't mean physically owning, but owning your work.
Or dopamine release.
There's no opportunity. There's no opportunity for that.
And then, so you go home and you need that escape. You need that sense of accomplishment, which a lot of people get by playing a video game, hitting those achievements. Or binge watching a season and they feel, I watched those episodes. I accomplished something. And did you really? Doesn't matter. You feel good about yourself. You achieve something. But now we don't even own those things. I buy DVDs. I have whole series, 10 seasons on DVD. So I can rewatch it anytime. If we cut off all of our streaming service, we've got enough entertainment here to last us a little bit.
Yeah.
So I just want to do a plug for your local library.
Oh,
Support your local library.
why?
I love books, audiobooks, because I'm always driving or working or whatever. I need to be able to listen. The authors still get money for their writings and all of that, so you're not taken away by just borrowing from the library. But Hoopla, Libby, all you need is a library card. You go on and you can rent audiobooks,
Not rent,
ebooks,
no money.
movies.
It's free.
No money. All you need is a library card.
And a phone.
And if you don't have one, you click the button, need library card. It'll connect you with your local library, give you a library card. But music, movies, TV shows, games, comics, ebooks, audiobooks. And if you want a physical book, you have that library card. You can go to your library and get a physical book.
And
You have to return it.
socialize.
Socialize? What the
A
hell
lot
am
of
I
the libraries do have story time for the younger kids. They have activities for teens. They do summer programs. You can go and meet up because I think there's like knitting circles
is,
at
yeah.
some. It's just libraries, people.
Yeah,
Doesn't cost you anything but time.
Libraries are important. And if anybody wants to look at our current political situation and go, well, they're going to lose their funding. For decades, centuries, private people supported libraries. They would bring in books and donate them. All these DVDs, if I run into some that I don't want these anymore, I'm never going to watch that movie again or that TV show again, donate it to a library. Don't take it to Goodwill. Don't throw it away. Take it to a library. Give it to them. Because whatever income range you're in, libraries are important. They're the modern meeting halls. And if you walk into a library and they don't have something set up or they don't have what you want to do set up, talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen tabletop role-playing game groups meet at libraries once a week. I've seen, because you think, well, where do we can't go to my house. I live with my parents in the basement because I'm a basement dwelling guy. I live in a small apartment with 2 kids. Yeah. Library. And even if you got to bring the kids with you, it's a library.
They even have special rooms, conference rooms, where you have to reserve, but people have meetings in there. They do study groups. They have doors. They close, so they're kind of soundproof from the outside. Yeah.
And what we're talking about consumer culture for this topic, but what we're covering now is how to fight consumer culture.
Right.
Buy a physical object, which is kind of anti to what we're saying. But when it comes to digital life, buy a physical object.
Buy it secondhand. Go to thrift stores. Go to yard sales. Swap meets.
If half the people spent as much on DVDs, new or used, instead of a streaming service, those streaming services would stand up and take notice. And we could go back to $3 or $6 or $10.
Or Blockbuster. Oh my God, where you can go and you pick out the movie and take it home and watch it and then take it back. I miss that.
What, Ed?
Way back in the 1900s.
Yeah.
Well, Netflix was the delivery video store before it was ever a streaming service.
Yep.
I used to get the disc.
Or nowadays, you know what? Take it a step further. Create your own. And if you want something that feeds the soul, learn an instrument. There is AIs out there that will create a whole song with your lyrics if you can't play 5 instruments. And I'm not saying you're going to turn around and make a rock musician career out of this. But you can at least have something to play along with. You got one buddy that plays bass guitar and you play harmonica. You know what? Go to that kind of AI. Make it create a song for you that doesn't have a bass guitar or a harmonica in it, and then get together with your friend and play along with that music.
Yeah, free entertainment. I mean, or depending on the program, very low cost entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Just
when you
But you
look,
get something out of it. You get an experience out of it.
if you are going to buy the digital stuff, look for one-time purchase instead of a monthly subscription.
Monthly subscription. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I just paid $50 for a tabletop, virtual tabletop. In other words, online. Because I have one game that I play with a person in the UK, another person in Belgium, another person in California. We're not getting together in the same place. But this lets me put a map up on screen with little figures. You can add music. Point is, $50, the cost, less than the cost of one video game. And now we have endless entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
All based on our...
Well, and I do buy digital things, usually on Etsy, but it's something someone created, and it's a digital download where then I could print out the thing they made.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's a pattern for my knitting or sewing or a calendar or whatever, and it's something someone created. It's their small business, so you're supporting them instead of these big corporations.
You know what I usually buy off Etsy?
Hmm.
Backgrounds for my live stream. $3, $6. I now have an interesting backdrop while I'm doing my other stuff. But I also buy things for my video games. I play Star Wars, The Old Republic. I play World of Warcraft. And I've spent more money. And when I played Fortnite, buying a new outfit for a character. Oh my God. The money I've spent on these things that I will never touch, hold in my hand, or if the company goes under or I lose internet, I'll never see it again. Hey, Rachel. Welcome to the Tavern.
What's
That's
up,
it.
baby?
So yeah, consumer culture, which leads into another topic that we could do a whole show on about producing waste. Realize enough is enough. Do you have enough to do what you want to do? Do you really need, that other thing, that other model kit for Ed, or that other mini brand for Andrea, or in my case, the pop, or whatever? No, you don't. Rachel, we did cover that. Going to the thrift store and picking up stuff from there. You can grab some amazing things. The problem is, a lot of your bigger thrift stores are now pricing at almost new prices.
Almost new prices, yeah.
I can't afford it. A lot of times I'll go in, I just want a pair of jeans. And it's cheaper to buy it brand new, and that's not right.
Hold on. Rachel asked, did you hear about the Amazon Goodwill scandal? No, but I am curious. And while you type out what you're talking about, here's what I'll tell you. In 2019, I worked for Amazon in a warehouse, and I asked, there are literally 150 pallets of boxes that are 6 feet tall by 5 feet by 5 feet, full of stuff that we can't sell. What are we doing with them? No, I didn't want to...
Grocery stores.
Huh?
Grocery stores.
Right. And I didn't want to jump in these things and dig out the stuff that I wanted. I really wanted to know, are we throwing away a bathing suit that somebody tried on and sent back, but they ripped out that little safety strip on the bikini? See, we can't sell it now? And they're like, yeah. Well, like the dog food, we give it to, pet rescues. Well, that's great. What about all the other stuff? They eventually came up with the plan. We're going to donate this stuff to charities, which, by the way, it sat there for 1.5 years before they made this decision. And they released this information at the end of October, beginning of November. So Amazon was nationwide news about doing this great thing. Here's what I'll tell you. I guarantee they got more money by that publicity, saved the publicity bill by those national or international news stories than they ever did by the cost of those products. And a lot of those products, Amazon didn't pay for. They were from China, and when a consumer or when a product maker signs up, they go, there's a checkbox. Do you want it returned to you, which will cost you shipping and a restock fee and all that? Or do you want us to just get rid of it for you? So this is one more way, smart business. Amazon made money off trash. Got great PR for it.
Yep.
So, is there a reason to bitch about it? I feel like, homeless shelters and women's shelters could have done a lot more with this and goodwill.
Right.
So Rachel says, long story short, the CEOs of each were getting together and discussing business where Amazon would send new product to Goodwill, who would then price it at only like 20-30% lower than retail, essentially creating a pseudo-monopoly. And it would be beyond just clothing, furniture, decor, hobby supplies, grocery, so that both could write off things tax-wise and profit. This is where I want to go with consumer culture. This is the finish line of this topic without branching into details and tangents. If somebody has an item, if you're not paying for it, you're the product. That's for social media. Social media is free. Yay. It's because you're the product. They're selling you to other people.
Yep.
And then businesses like this, finding ways, it's cheaper to lose $200 million worth of product, retail price, which actually costs them $60 million wholesale.
Maybe.
Right. So our consumer addiction, and they do make it as addiction, because we can look at streaming services and games and how certain video games actually employed psychologists to create an addictive loop.
Mm-hmm.
They're basically turning us into a milk cow of money.
Yep.
By addicting us. So, realize what you need.
Work.
Rachel says the only reason I know anything is because I work for a nonprofit. Several sponsors were like, were these usual hauls going? They were not disappearing. Turned out what was supposed to go to wide nonprofit distribution on paper got rerouted, quote, quote, and ended up in Goodwill. Realize what's necessities and what's total fluff in your life. There is a middle ground between the two where you have some give, you have some playroom. There's no reason you shouldn't buy a game you want. There is every reason you shouldn't buy 12 games in 1 year.
Well, a lot of the problem, well, not a lot of the problems. I think Mouse mentioned it earlier. Even an app on your phone, you used to look at apps on your phone and it would tell you how much that app was going to cost you.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got to download it. And after you download it, now if you want this feature, you have to pay this much. But we have even more features if you want to pay this much, and even more features if you want to pay this much. And it's never you pay that much, and now the app is on your phone. It's a subscription for every year.
By the way, that virtual tabletop I bought today, all included. Mm-hmm. There is more things you can buy to add to it,
mm-hmm.
but the core stuff, they've worked it out with every gaming company. So now I have 3 different games downloaded to this one thing, and I paid one price for one thing, got the other stuff. Now I could go back in and buy like additions to it, but I don't need to, because the core is there. And if I don't want somebody else's ideas to mimic, if I can make my own, I'm good to go.
So I want to rant.
Go.
All right. So our Alexa, I love it because you can ask it things. It'll play music. They had this feature several years ago. You can get Samuel Jackson. You can add the voice of Sam Jackson. So I could be like, hey, Samuel, what's the weather? Sam Jackson would tell me the motherfucking weather.
And I
Or I
paid for it,
drove
by the
button
way.
sleep. I did pay for it. It was 99 cents, one-time cost.
Mm-hmm.
Had it for years. I think it was 2017, 2019. They got rid of it. So now I don't have Sam Jackson telling me the weather every morning.
We
Yeah, but
actually,
you can probably blame Sam Jackson for that.
no, I believe they paid him.
Yeah, they paid him for probably a certain amount of time.
Could be.
And after that, yeah, he probably, well, show me more money. And they said, no.
Well, they
we're not
had
paying
like other voices too, like Melissa McCarthy and Santa Claus and all these other things. They don't have any of it anymore.
you." Mm.
All right, did you tell me that Santa Claus reneged on his contract and
Probably.
said no?
Probably.
Yeah, he's making it on the back end. He made a deal with Amazon.
Damn it.
He's like, Amazon at wholesale is much better than elves. So, closing thoughts?
Support your local library.
It's a great thought and very important. Ed?
Yeah.
Buy renewable physical objects. Buy the board games. Buy the paperback. If you buy an audiobook, try to get it in a download so it's on your system, which you can do even through Audible. Don't rely on these companies because A, they'll change the rules like they did with Sam Jackson on the Amazon Echo, whatever it is. Or that company will go out of business. And you no longer have that product that you paid for that was yours. No, it's not. No, it's not. And watch your health, guys. Mental and physical. Don't try to catch all the Pokemon. Catch the ones you love the most and enjoy what you have. That's the secret to life, is enjoy what you have and realize what is extraneous versus what helps you feel good. And Ed, I mentioned this before the show. I want to go on Walmart.com, Amazon app, Temu, and get a package once or twice a week. You know, it's only $20. Shipping is free if it's over 20, or Amazon Prime. But that is still money coming out of my pocket. It's like going to fast food every day. Andrea and I will go to fast food, pay almost $30 for a meal for the two of us. 2 meals. We can go to a restaurant for that price. And if we shop smart at a grocery store, I can get enough boneless, skinless chicken breast for 15 to 20 meals.
I pay for the convenience because after working 10 plus hours
Sure.
and an hour drive home, I want that food that someone else made.
But you're not
I
doing
pay for that.
but you're not doing it every day.
No.
There's been plenty of days where we're like, do we want to stop? No. We've got food at home. And maybe it'll just be grilled cheese or chili dogs, which is a can of chili and some hot dogs. But you know what? That whole meal
Now I'm hungry.
cost us $6-8.
I'm damn chili dog.
Oh, we had them the other night, man. We do white people taco night.
That's our anniversary meal.
White people taco night or chili dogs?
Chili dogs.
Okay. You know what I did today? Banquet has these mega chicken breasts that taste as good as Chick-fil-A. And I took 2 of those, heat them up, cut them into 4 or 5 slices each. 2 of these chicken breasts, which cost $6 for 6. Put them on a tortilla with a little honey mustard for her, a little spicy mayonnaise, and sweet peppers for me. And we had a meal. And it essentially cost us...
What did you call them?
Oh, Chacos. Which is chicken tacos. And actually, when I handed her hers, I'm like, they're either Chacos or they're a wrap, all depending how you curl that goddamn tortilla around them. Leave it open at top, it's a Choco. You wrap it tight, it's a wrap. There you go. You got your choice of dinners. But if we're looking at $2 for the chicken breast, 30 cents for the tortillas, and whatever, we're looking at under $5. She and I ate a meal. You can do it, guys. And
Yeah, you can do it.
You can do it with your toys. You don't need all this crap that I have, and I got a lot of crap.
My toys are expensive though.
What toys?
Yeah, they are.
Guns.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know, we'll talk about that off air. Anyhow. Okay. That's the end of the... We go closing thoughts. Shall I roll the closing music, folks?
Roll on, baby.
Okay, closing toast. Sometimes you don't get what you want. But sometimes, if you try real hard, you'll find you get what you need. Okay, guys, thanks for joining us here at the tavern and sharing a drink, a laugh, and a little bit of ranting. We enjoy it every goddamn week, especially with our live audience here on Twitch in the Tavern Society. So if you go to twitch.tv/Travis Tavern, you can watch me write whole novels in front of your eyes. It's fucking amazing. And incredible novels, too. But you also find things like this, where if you're a subscriber, you could join in, chat along with us, and throw your ideas into the chat. Check out that patreon.com/Sivart that I mentioned, and you can get my books before anyone else as I write it. You guys have a great day. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next time.
Good night, everybody.